Welcome back to another episode of the Isn't That Rich podcast. Today we are going to be discussing the importance of financial literacy and our efforts as Farmers State Bank to bring it into our communities, especially into our schools and into our local workplaces. Jill, I would love if you would give us the definition of financial literacy, because this is not a new word for me now that I've been working here, but it was something that was new to me when I started working at Farmers State Bank. I had never heard it before.
You're so right, because I think it means something different to a lot of people. We hear financial literacy. Well, what does that actually mean? And according to the Cambridge University Press, financial literacy is knowledge and understanding of financial concepts and risks, as well as the skills and attitudes to apply such knowledge and understanding in order to make effective decisions across a range of financial contexts, to improve the financial well-being of individuals and society, and to enable participation in economic life, which, holy smokes, yeah, it is learning about your finances, implementing those finances, and being able to function as a human in our economic society, because love it or not,
you have to play the game. And that's what
right.
We learned in our girls group we're in, that we talk about finances. So funny. They're like, you have to play. You have to play in the economic life that we live in.
Yes.
You can't just not do it, or you're
Right.
going to lose.
Yes, for sure.
So I think it's super important that we have this conversation and that we talk about financial literacy, because we need to teach people how to live in our economic life.
Yeah.
Because it's up to us
Yeah.
to promote it. You know what I mean?
As a human being, financial literacy isn't something we just know. It's not
Right.
something that we're taught at a young age. And actually, I feel like our schools could do a better job of incorporating more throughout our entire education process. And I mean, we learned that at 7 years old, your financial habits are already instilled in you. So I feel like that is so important. 7 years old, you've gone through kindergarten and first grade. You already know what money is and how it's used. I mean, it's used to get you the things that you need or want in life. And so the younger that we can learn about it, the better.
Yeah. And I was, I remember when I started at the bank, like within the first few months, I had started at the bank and you had asked me to download this app called Zogo.
Yes.
And it's a financial literacy app that it's really fun. It's gamified. It's just like an easy way to learn about finances. And there was really this big push for financial literacy within our bank and in our community. And I remember within the first couple of months, we were doing, these like financial presentations at the schools and in businesses. And I was like shocked that we were doing them in the schools, but the longer, you do them, you realize they have business classes and they have, what is it? Not econ, but what's the class you take when you're like a senior? You learn how to like write a check. That's about it.
Yeah, that's about it.
And so we're trying to get in the schools and get in the workplaces and like really teach people even just basic stuff about finances that people do not know.
Yeah, people still don't know. I mean, that was taught to us. And I remember, I think it was like 9th grade, I was taught how to balance a checkbook and keep like a check registry. But other than that, I had a couple of accounting classes. Now accounting was looking at businesses, right? Like looking at how a business balances their finance, but never your personal finances. And so when you're not taught these things, where do you learn them from? And what habits do you have that you carry on with you forever without learning the proper way to do things?
Right.
So,
yeah. So really financial literacy is strongly linked to socioeconomic status. So the students who have been found to be financially literate came from families with higher levels of education and income and homes with a lot of books.
Interesting.
And so it really shows the importance of financial literacy in all communities, because not everyone grew up with affluent families that could send their students to, prestigious schools and all these kinds of things. So, but it's a topic that everyone needs to know, but not everyone is taught. So that's why I think with the bank, we love going out into the community. We love going out to any type of business and teaching on financial literacy, because the knowledge of it can bring so much transformation in a life. It's amazing.
Right. Knowledge is power. And you mentioned businesses, because I don't think a lot of people realize that financial literacy can be taught not only in the schools, but as an adult in the businesses. Like, what a benefit it is for a company to teach their employees financial literacy. In fact, in 2021, U.S. adults reported spending about 7 hours per week on average thinking about and dealing with issues and problems related to their personal finances, with over 3 of these hours spent at work. So if you're spending that much time thinking about your finances at work, that's loss in productivity for an employer. So it's only going to be a benefit for an employer to have their employees financially literate.
Yeah. When I was reading this is still from the Cambridge article, they did this study to show like those 3 hours and then whatever you would have paid somebody for those 3 hours, and then you add it up within your company to pay people to come in and then to teach them about their finances. You know, it's kind of a trade-off to like what you said, get people more engaged in their work.
Right.
You don't want people worrying about their finances, but
I don't know where I saw it, but there was this crazy statistic, a percentage of people who see a therapist because of like so much anxiety comes from finances. And that when people don't feel secure financially, it kind of opens the door to a lot of these like anxiety issues in their life and their family, and it just kind of snowballs. Mm-hmm. So, you know, to be over your finances and confident in it can really create so much peace of mind, which really makes you more effective as an employee as well.
Well, in contrast with what Jill was saying, in this same study, it talks about people that were financially literate, they only spent about 3 hours per week thinking about their finances, and only one of those hours per week was spent thinking about it at work. So 3 hours of people that are not financially literate compared to the 1 hour, and probably the 1 hour wasn't thinking about it in maybe a bad way.
It was probably like, oh shoot, I need to pay that bill.
I got to pay the bill.
Yep. Pay the bill or cash this check or do something like that, rather than an anxious, anxiety.
And I think what a lot of people do, you know, we see this with the bank and stuff. People have a lot of like pride issues, and they do whatever they feel like maybe best to fix the issue. So like if they're struggling financially, they're like, I'll open up a credit card or something. But rarely does someone want to ask for help or ask for wisdom, ask for financial literacy. And so that's why I think we really love going out to businesses and schools and organizations, because we're there, we're teaching. There's not that, like, I think a lot of people experience shame bringing up financial issues and being like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Okay, well, I'm so glad you said that, because Jill and I talked about this yesterday. I was reading, when we were doing some research for this podcast, I was reading about, like, you know, the more we get into the digital age, like, we see so many more financial products that are like right at our fingertips, right? So like the credit cards, like you're saying, or you get on Venmo, and now Venmo's like, we've chosen you for a credit card. And so these big companies that are super smart kind of almost prey on the people that are not financially literate, and they don't know like some of the things that they could be getting into. And with a good enough marketing slogan, you're able to maybe put people on a credit card that's going to maybe wreck their credit, throw them into debt. And so it is so important for us to, it's like what you're saying, just teach people about finances. And that not everything that's like all shiny and beautiful that is on your screen. You know what I'm trying to say? Like just because something's beautiful doesn't mean, you know, Satan was beautiful. You know, that's all I'm trying to say. Sometimes credit cards look shiny and they're not good for people. And people don't know that.
Right.
Yeah. They're looking for a way to help themselves.
Right.
Most often. And sometimes that can, and we talked about this with Mike, you know, sometimes the best answer to someone is no. And when you're getting marketed, I mean, we know as marketers that we can see spending behaviors of people. I mean, there's so much information at our fingertips that as marketers that we can target specific demographics with different ads. And you're right, Ashley, sometimes it could be seen as prey to those individuals who don't necessarily know how to handle it. So crazy.
It's just, we have all these products, and then we have so many people in America, clearly by the statistics, that don't know how to handle these products. And so the people that have these products and these companies are just growing and growing and growing.
I think a lot of people would maybe ask, like, why is a bank so passionate about teaching financial literacy for free in businesses and schools and everywhere in the community? Because really, our success comes from your success. We want our customers to be financially successful. We want you to learn new ways to grow your income and be happy, because when our customers are hurting, we hurt, right? And so for us, you know, it's a passion of ours, because we want to see a thriving community. When the community is thriving, banks are thriving. So that's really our motivation as well. And so that's why we love going to so many different places and teaching about the things that we know. And we're constantly around finances. We're studying trends. We're studying, different things. So I think a lot of people don't have the time to study finances for hours, but bankers, that's their job. So it's exciting to share the valuable information that we've learned.
Right. Yeah. And we can kind of talk about how we developed this financial literacy program. Is that okay? So we started, I think it was right when you came on board, you kind of mentioned this already, is right when you started at the bank, we decided, we needed to develop a team that would go out and teach people about financial literacy and teach people about their finances. And at first it was kind of, whatever school organization reached out to us, we would go there and give a little presentation, leave them with a little piggy bank, and make it more of like a song and dance, right? Without really getting involved in it. But after this team was formed, we've kind of created, just a whole packet of information that we can cater to every group that we're in front of. So if it's at a classroom, we teach you about certain things. If it's at a business, we'll teach you about retirement planning or budgeting or whatever they need. So we have this customizable system in place now, which is really exciting. So our goals have changed from when we first started teaching financial literacy to what it was now. And it's essentially why we started this podcast. I mean, we started this mastermind, and we wanted, we figured we could get 10 to 15 people in this room to teach a mastermind. But what better of an impact could we have on our community? Well, we can, every single person listening to this, whether it's 65 people or 150 or however many people this reaches, we can, give them, if they take one thing from every episode, then that's one thing they didn't know before listening. So, yeah.
And hopefully it piques their interest to learn more. I have a friend, well, she's my hairdresser. I love her to death. She's like, I played your podcast, and then I just kept playing more. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know anything. I need to keep learning. And it's so funny when people do kind of get a hold on finances, and they you want to learn more. Like my friend Kaylee, I remember when I first started working at the bank, she's like, I'm pumped for you to work there because I know that you're going to learn so much stuff. So it was like, I feel like for 6 months, I kept we'd go on a walk and I'd be like, and this is what I learned about the bank and da-da-da-da-da. And it really, I feel like I blossomed as a person and felt so powerful because I knew how to have how to have a handle on my finances. And I knew it wasn't that hard. I know it's just to learn things. It's not, these concepts aren't actually that hard to understand, but it's just giving people the information and the access to the information, and then teaching them how to use the information is what we're lacking in our society, I think.
For sure.
They're simple. Children can understand it. I mean, we just a few days ago, we were at a summer school program with pre-K students to fifth graders, and they were absorbing the information. Obviously, you have to put it very simply, but they were understanding. I mean, they were showing books even about investing and saving and all these kinds of things. And so it was just amazing to see young minds start to grasp financial principles that most adults haven't even like been introduced to.
Yeah. So what was your biggest takeaway from that financial literacy
Kelly Green
class?
like bartering with the kids? Yeah. She's hilarious.
She was. So I don't know. They were just like asking questions about like, how do banks, make money, how they do in the community. And then we were talking about like investing and saving and having your money work for you through putting it in accounts that earn interest and what is interest and those kinds of things. But the kids were like really open and receptive to it.
And they were young. They were really young kids. I would say kindergarten level.
Yeah, I would say on average it was about kindergarten level. First grade.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was a wide variety of ages in that group.
Yeah. Could you imagine if at kindergarten level you understood the concept of interest and compound interest, how much better off we all would be
you
today?
Opened up a Roth IRA.
Even a money market account. Your mom set you up like
Right.
How awesome would that be? Yeah. So we have a program available and we can talk about that.
Yeah. If you haven't picked up on that, we've done like so many, I like to call them like, our gigs that we do. I think it's just so fun. And we've gone to a couple of different places. We've gone to all the local high schools.
Yes, we've gone to Harrisburg and Marion and Heron.
I remember I did the Heron one like a year or two ago, and it was like the entire senior class in a huge auditorium, and I was like,
oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm smart enough to do this, but let's read the projector together. It was just so cool. We got them all on like a financial literacy app, and it's so funny too. We don't have Zogo anymore, but it's a great app. And so it was funny when we do present it to the schools and these kids would see you out in public and they'd be like, look how my score, look at my score.
Look how many pineapples I have.
I got. So funny. So we've done, like all of the local high schools. We did SIU football team. That was crazy.
I feel so
crazy.
With SIU, we did an entire week long and it was like a 3-hour chunk of time each day. Like we did a intensive program with them, but there was things that, some of these football players already have children and they already were like, they're raising a family and they don't know how they're going to get a loan or how, when they graduate, what it's like to have credit card debt or how to even use a credit card. What is credit? Right. If they have a bad credit score, how do they raise their credit score? Like there's so many things that as you're starting out that you're not introduced to. And so it was really, really fun to sit down and actually hear which questions that age group had.
Yeah. Well, and it is so our team, when we go out and we do these presentations, it is so customizable that I love that we can kind of see where they're at in their life. And so like these college boys that are about to go out, unless they're in the NFL, they're going to get a real job. And I feel like when you're going to get your big girl or big boy job, you don't necessarily know a lot about benefits, or you're kind of overwhelmed and you just maybe care about what you're getting paid and you're just starting. You want to make friends at your job. Like you don't care about the benefits, but unless that HR person like really sits down with you and like is super pumped and interesting, you don't really understand all of these things that are getting thrown at you. And so like that's, one example of how it's really like specific to whoever we're talking to. Like we taught them about, hey, like you really should start paying into retirement. Like this is the time to do it. And people don't understand that. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And it helps. I think like even like monkey surveys of like, what are topics that a lot of people in your work environment want to understand. So like at John A, a lot of them wanted to know more about managing like social budgeting, like having a social life and budgeting with that and all those kinds of things. So it's fun to talk about.
So when you went to John A, I kind of want to ask questions about like the examples of businesses we've gone to, because I feel like this is really an untapped market that could take advantage of financial literacy. So you went to John A. Logan College and you met with the teachers, or you met with, who did you guys meet with?
So it was Early Childhood Development Center through John A. So what they do is they meet with moms and parents in the community and help them
kind of get back on their feet, or they have a daycare. So a lot of early child development. So teachers, moms, kind of stuff like that entire realm.
A lot of the people there are kind of mentors to, different people in the communities that may need a little help. So what was interesting is a lot of the information that we were teaching them, we knew that they were also going to be teaching that to the people in the community that they influence as well. So it was really cool to see that. And they were all asking a bunch of questions. Some of them shared things that they did that were successful, like different apps think like Acorns was one and stuff like that. So it was cool to see this conversation open up among themselves, sharing wisdom and stuff that they had learned. So it even wasn't just us sharing all of this knowledge, but it actually opened up this conversation. It like broke the ice within their staff to talk about all of these things that have been like good for them.
That's so
And
cool.
it wasn't only good things too, but it was some kind of harder things that
Struggles,
people
yeah.
were talking about. Or I remember this one lady in the front row, she was like, I cannot have a credit card. You do not understand. I don't know how to handle myself with it. And I think that's so funny because
Yeah.
like, I don't personally have a problem with it, but people really do. And that was someone real standing in front of me. Like, I can't have a credit card. And so it's having this conversation about it and
Yeah.
kind of digging into her life. Like, why do you think you're like that? And then like, what is working for you or not working for you right now? So I don't know. It was so fun. It's so fun when we go to these businesses and these people are like, they're so thankful we went there.
Yeah.
I remember they came up to us after and they were like, this is the best presentation we've ever had. And I want to come bank with you because you guys are like so personable and you like seem like you really care. And it's because we genuinely do.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
I remember another instance where we got in front of a group of, it was the hairstylist convention. It was like a continuing education course that we taught at just right here at the pavilion. It was held and it was so interesting to hear how hairstylists, when you don't have a typical 401k provided by your employer, how are you investing for your future? And it was interesting to hear the questions they had to ask about, did you know that you had access to open a SEP IRA? Well, what the heck is a SEP IRA? Well, actually, you own your own business. So this is really cool. You get to invest more than most people within your business, which is really awesome. Did you know you had that ability? And just point out those different things that they might not be thinking of and that they don't feel they have access to as a small business owner. So I thought that was a really rewarding one too. Just hearing the questions that the crowd had to ask. How did the conversation at the trust business go? So this was more of like a construction, blue collar workers.
Jared wasn't at the one. I was at I was at the trust one with Kelly and Christine. Christine, if you're listening to this, you talk through the whole thing. No, I love you, but no, Christine's great. She's on the team and she's like a wealth of knowledge and she's so vibrant and funny. I love her. But that was like a new one for us. We went to a trust company.
So trust, TRUSS.
Yes, and it's just all these like rough, tough men like sitting on a trust belt, and we just like we're like, hello, we're in blue jeans and had our little whiteboard out and basically we had an hour with them and we knew kind of the things because of what their employers told us they were struggling with that we kind of opened their eyes to and just said, you're doing this right now. This is the effect it's having on your life and your finances right now. If you would literally cut out the Casey's trip, was what some of them were doing on lunch and buying 15 Slim Jims, maybe
your money would go a little further.
And so it was like, that one was so fun. It was so interesting. And so it's just like these different businesses and they're different employee demographics, and it's kind of funny how like similar these employees are within a company and the financial things that they're dealing with. They're not all the same, but it's funny. These demographics.
Yeah.
And so we're able to go there and like customize
the program,
how we're talking to them because, maybe the trust company workers didn't really care about a retirement plan at that point in their lives. And maybe the John A. girls don't care that much about saving for a vacation. It's just different. There's so many different financial topics to talk about. So it's really just seeing what you need right now.
Well, I think it's an awesome opportunity for businesses in our area if they are wanting this kind of help for their employees, or, maybe they're finding that paying their employees more is difficult for them, or this is an awesome benefit that they can provide for their employees to help ease some of that financial anxiety that they have, would be to reach out to us and have us come present. to them.
And I really think about if I was employed somewhere else and my employer had someone come in and wanted to like really teach me about things, I would definitely be so thankful for my employer, and it would make me, I think, feel a little bit more, I guess, loyal. And I think you can see that in the research with companies that do have financial literacy. Like if you're investing in your employees in that way, not just like monetarily, but through financial literacy in a different way, in a knowledgeable way, they'll want to stick around with you because they see that you care about them.
And it's a free thing that we offer. So we understand how hard it can be to run a business, especially when your staff is struggling financially and there's tension in the workplace. You know, I'd say, why not like sign up for your business for us to come and teach on financial literacy? Because I think like you were saying, like it builds trust with their employees, knowing that their employer cares about them and their finances and managing all of that. So yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
I love that it's customizable. So say if we were to go into a restaurant and teach your tipped employees how to manage their tips better, or how you still have to pay taxes on those tips and how to deal with that, right? So like there's specific things that every industry deals with when it comes to your finances. And for us to be able to create a program just for you, or a presentation just for you to learn about those things that are actually affecting you it's pretty awesome.
I want to say this too. I think we always talk about this, that banking is kind of cold and not approachable. And I think also what helps is when you do have bankers come into your place of business and talk to your employees. Now we are, however many people we send out, that's that many more faces that they know of, people that they can trust and come to when they have financial questions. And it doesn't cost anything to go to a bank and ask bankers questions. I mean, gosh, we had a lady sitting in there for like 3 hours the other day, just drilling Lexi or somebody about something. And we're there to help you. So I think it's beneficial to like have your team that we were talking about, have your financial team, have your banker on your side.
Absolutely.
So if somebody wanted to sign up for financial literacy, how do they do that? Let's reach out to us, right?
Yeah. So if they wanted to learn or even sign up for one of these classes, they could email marketing@myfsb.com, and one of the three of us will receive that email and we will respond to you within 24 hours, and we can set up a time, or we can meet with you, learn your employees' needs, and set up a program specifically for you. And we can come out on site and speak to your employees. You can come to us. We can have it at our boardroom, whatever you prefer.
So customizable. Yeah. So fun. It really is so fun. And I love all the people that we've met.
Yeah,
and I'm like super excited to just go out and meet more people and help them and teach them. So it's really great.
Absolutely.
Anything else you guys want to say about financial literacy? Jared,
we make it a lot of fun. We really do. We make it fun and easy because like for me, like I have such a simple mind, but I pride myself on that because I love taking complex concepts and making them simple and then sharing that in a simple way. So I don't know. It's just fun. We have a great time. Don't we?
We do.
I would just say that you don't know what you don't know until you ask. And so having the opportunity to be in front of a team that knows what they're talking about when it comes to your finances, you're able to ask the questions that you might feel embarrassed to ask, say, inside a bank. So we're bringing it to you, and hopefully that approach works for you.
Well, this has been a fun conversation about our financial literacy program. If you would like to learn more about our financial literacy program, once again, you can email marketing@myfsb.com, or you can check out our social media or YouTube or our website. We've got lots of information on there. So thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. So Jill, where do we go from here?
Be sure to check out our show notes for this episode, and also be sure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our newsletter. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.